Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at a piece of source material that is absolutely fascinating. And honestly, it kind of challenges everything we think we know about keeping our homes cool during the dead of summer. We're going to explore what the creator describes as a forgotten ancient cooling method. It's a method that's practically free, and we'll be breaking down both the hard science and the rather intense controversy surrounding it. Okay, let's dive into this. Imagine a material so incredibly simple, so basic, that it can literally drop your indoor temperatures by a full 10 degrees. According to the source material, there's a white powder out there that costs about $2 at your local hardware store. And when you apply it correctly, it drastically chops down the heat of your home. I mean, it sounds almost too good to be true, right? A 10-degree drop from a cheap off-the-shelf powder? No way. So that obviously brings us to the million-dollar question: what on earth is this $2 powder? The source paints a picture full of intense intrigue here. They claim this is a completely unpatentable material, literally something anyone can just walk in and buy, that generates more actual cooling power than your standard mechanical AC unit. But before we spill the exact recipe and look at the modern science backing it up, we really need to take a step back and look at the past. Section 1. 4,000 years of history. Because actually, scratch that. This isn't a new discovery at all. It's a method with incredibly deep historical roots. Just look at this timeline. It really puts the whole thing into perspective. All the way back in 1500 BC, the Minoans on the island of Crete were already plastering their walls pure white using calcium lime. Fast forward a bit, and the ancient Greeks and Romans were literally mixing this exact same material into their walls and spreading it across entire cityscapes. The idea spread like wildfire. This super simple cooling technique was the gold standard for thousands of years, right up until 1902, when Willis Carrier came along and invented modern residential air conditioning. But the story didn't just end with mechanical AC units. In 1973, the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab tested this ancient method, and then in 2021, Purdue University made a massive scientific breakthrough based on these exact same historical principles. So what is the chemical makeup of this historical miracle? Well, it's simply hydrated lime. We're talking about crushed calcium carbonate, which is literally just limestone, carefully mixed with water. That's the whole shebang. This super basic mixture utilizes the physics of solar bounce to physically reflect extreme heat right off a structure instead of absorbing it. As the source points out, Greek grandmothers living in small island villages have been mixing up this exact unpatented recipe for literally 3,000 years to keep their homes naturally cool during those blazing Mediterranean summers. Section 2. The modern scientific proof. But hey, you don't just have to rely on ancient architecture to believe this works. We have the data. In that 1973 Lawrence Berkeley lab test, they painted a flat roof with this powdered limestone. The result? The surface dropped an unbelievable 40 degrees cooler than a dark roof sitting right next to it. The indoor temperature fell by 8 degrees, meaning they needed absolutely zero air conditioning for the entire summer. And then, jumping to 2021, that team at Purdue University developed a highly reflective formula using these exact concepts. Their formula kept surfaces 8 degrees below the ambient air temperature during the day and a massive 19 degrees below at night. They calculated that it produced 10 kilowatts of constant cooling power per 1,000 square feet. To put that into perspective, that easily outpaces the cooling capacity of a standard central AC system in a normal home, and it uses absolutely zero electricity. Mind-blowing, right? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of the reflection taking place. The Purdue formula actually reflects 98.1% of all incoming sunlight. Compare that to the maximum of 80% that top-tier commercial white paints can achieve. This 98.1% reflection rate is so exceptionally high, so off the charts, that it was actually certified by the Guinness Book of World Records as the whitest surface ever created. Section 3. Claims of industry suppression. With jaw-dropping numbers like that, you really have to ask yourself, why isn't this the standard everywhere? Why are we all spending thousands of dollars on AC? Well, the source presents some pretty provocative claims here, pointing out a massive financial contrast. And this brilliantly illustrates the divide. On one side, you have the modern AC and paint industries. They demand high upfront costs, you have to buy parts or repaint every 5 to 7 years, and together they generate a combined $300 billion in global annual revenue. On the flip side, you have the hydrated lime solution. It costs about $14 for a massive bag at the hardware store, uses zero electricity, and critically, it is unpatentable. As the creator argues, you simply cannot slap a subscription model on crushed limestone. So the crucial point is how the source theorizes this suppression actually plays out in the real world. According to the original creator, the business models of major paint companies inherently rely on that 5 to 7 year repeat buying cycle. Furthermore, they point out something you've probably noticed. Many homeowners association, or HOA, rulebooks across the country explicitly prohibit highly reflective white roofs. By mandating dark earth tones like browns and dark grays, the source argues these rules mathematically guarantee maximum solar heat absorption. It essentially bakes your house. This, in turn, generates a constant, inescapable dependency on the $200 billion air conditioning industry. It's a really fascinating look at the underlying economics that might be dictating how we cool our living spaces.
By the way, the creator behind this analysis frequently mentions that they have a whole collection of other buried, survival, and natural cooling methods inside what they call their complete vault. So if you're ever interested in diving deeper into these allegedly hidden techniques, that's the resource the channel points you toward.
Section 4. How to make it. Okay, let's step away from the industry theories for a second and look at something highly actionable. How can you actually make this yourself? Let's move to Zoe and see how this builds. It's just an incredibly simple 3-step process. Step 1, head down to your standard hardware store and grab one 50-pound bag of Type S hydrated lime. Step 2, mix 1 part of that powder to 2 parts water and just stir it up until it looks kind of like thin milk. Step 3, apply 2 full coats to your roof surface with a thick roller or a brush, just making sure you let that first coat dry completely overnight. That is it. It's a remarkably straightforward recipe that empowers literally anyone to replicate a multi-millennia-old cooling strategy in a single afternoon. To really bring this into the real world, the source shares this great anecdote about a homeowner in Texas who applied this exact mixture to his roof. The results? His attic temperature plummeted from a roasting 140 degrees all the way down to 97 degrees. His indoor home temperature fell by 10 full degrees, and because his AC basically took the summer off, he saved an astonishing $1,200 in electricity in just a single year. All of that from roughly $14 worth of hardware store powder? We're going to leave you with this final provocative quote from the source material to wrap up today's explainer. They say, "This knowledge never disappeared. It was buried under $200 billion of marketing and building codes." It definitely leaves us questioning that balance between modern mechanical convenience and ancient, highly sustainable wisdom, doesn't it? Does spending thousands of dollars always mean something is better? Or is the ultimate cooling solution literally sitting on a dusty hardware store shelf right now? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and keep exploring.